we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody. I am Jason Bermas. This is Reality Rants, bright and early, your Thursday broadcast. We're kind of all wrap it up during the week. I don't do a Friday broadcast. It's a lot for me. You know, anybody out there who doesn't understand, especially in a show like this that's really driven without guests right out of the gates, without callers right out of the gates, because believe me, I love doing those things. One of my favorite things, especially talking to people. Yesterday, my segment on Making Sense of the Madness, Chris Sky was on before me. I was able to talk to Chris Sky behind the scenes. I love those kind of conversations, but you get worn out, right? Like what Rogan does, I think, is a little bit different because, you know, you never see him solo. There's always somebody there, like a comedy buddy, etc., and you can have the conversation. I can only hear myself talk so much. I can only look into this stuff so much. So, you know, for today, after we talk about this de-extinction company, and we're going to raise the dodo from the dead, and we're going to raise the woolly mammoth from the dead, and we're going to make claims that we cloned human beings a long time ago via some weird alien sex cult. Huh? You tuned in early, you're getting the spicy. That's what you're getting. You're getting the spicy. Aside from all that, and that's what we're going to lead with, what do I spend my morning watching and listening to? Well, Agenda 21 was on my mind because I've been seeing it trend on Twitter. Somehow, some way, Agenda 21 is trending. Doesn't have anywhere near the tweets about the entertainment and the sports and the yada yada. But it's trending on Twitter. So I'm like, you know what? Forget about Twitter. Let me go back to YouTube. Let me go to the United Nations own YouTube channel, and let me see what I can just quickly find in the next hour or so about Agenda 21. So I found several videos that I'm going to pop on that are directly from the United Nations website, including one from a decade plus ago in 2012, where you have this, I believe it's an Oklahoma representative. His name, I believe, is Bill Bryant, basically just scoffing at the idea that Agenda 21 of the United Nations are anything but the best thing since breakfast. And really, we're kind of on a platform where that's the case, where you're not supposed to speak out against the United Nations and their sustainability agenda and the idea that these SDGs, and they love a three-letter acronym, hardens my nipples. SDGs, okay? Sustainability Development Goals. When they talk about SDGs, that's the idea that your standard of living is going to plummet and you are going to go under a global IoT, IOB society, period. In fact, it's discussed in a lot of these videos. And these videos, for the most part, I think the earliest one is from like 4 years ago, aside from what we're going to show the dinosaur one again because I just can't get over it. It's over the top. I've got actually a news piece, I think it's from ABC Australia, from over a decade ago, where they're talking about population stabilization in Australia and sustainable growth in cities, and the same mantra, man. And they got the cute little cartoons, and they got the nice colors, and they got everybody just laughing at you. Ha 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 ha. If you're like, hey, wait a minute, my power bill's going up. Hey, wait a minute, my money's not worth as much. Hey, wait a minute, you're telling me where I'm allowed to go and what I'm allowed to eat. Hey, wait a minute. I didn't sign on to this. And they always tell you there's going to be different flavors of it, and there will be. Okay? Because wherever they can impose the largest amount of tyranny, okay, without any kind of physical pushback, at least significant physical pushback, they will do so. And it will be beta tested. And they will see how far they can take it. And then they will try to impose that on the next society. And really, that's a lot of what we discussed with Jeremy McKenzie in Canada. And he said, look, we're a smaller country. We have a lot of the same values. They're beta testing it here before they bring it to the big show. And he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong at all. So, small reality rant in the beginning. This is Reality Rants after all. Got to be able to talk it up. I want to thank all of you guys out there that have supported the program. Got to tell you, every week I've been going to the dentist on a Thursday, and one of the reasons I do it on Thursdays, in case it's too brutal, I don't have to worry about getting up early tomorrow. If I need the weekend to recover, I can have it. Going today again. Getting some fillings and drillings, guys. Let me tell you. Brutal. However, now that we're talking about me, and hell, it's my show. As you guys know, I had a lot of weird medical issues over the last year plus, including what was like crippling vertigo. Ended up being a thing called BPPV, where literally a crystal in your ear gets dislodged. And guys, I don't know what to say about this, but it was one of the most wild, awful, you know what I felt like? And I don't think I've verbalized this. And why not verbalize it in front of everybody? All right? And this is like going to be horrible to say, but it's true. It's what I felt like. All of a sudden, I felt so helpless in certain situations because I knew that if I was just put in a physical position where, for instance, if I had to go tie my shoe, or if I bent down the wrong way on a stool, completely immobilized, I could fall down, and it felt like it was instant and that this could possibly degrade, right? So honestly, what it reminded me of is when I had my dog Jax, and he was one of the 3 American Staffordshire Terriers that I had at once. And all of a sudden he started the back of him started walking funny. Okay. And I wasn't sure what it was. And it got to the point where we ended up taking him to Cornell, and he had spinal cancer. And that was it. Spinal cancer. He's up through his brain. There was really nothing I could do for him. And I saw it degrade. And I was just like, man, this happened so quick. And I thought, wow, that could happen to me so quick. So, because they were telling me things like it could be a tumor or a benign tumor. And then they were saying cholesterol granuloma in my brain, like right behind my head. And that was totally separate from my vertigo. And by the way, the medical system was such that despite the fact that I had diagnosed myself with BPPV within 48 hours of the first instance, which was extremely frightening, I did a thing called my own research, Guys, I went to a clinic. Nobody listened to me. Nobody helped me. What did they do? Put me to an eye doctor and then another physician. Okay? And through that, the eye doctor, and then I had to get a primary physician. I told both those people what's going on. Still, nobody would listen to me about the BPV. Now we've got weeks going by. Okay? Finally, after I had been set up and taken a MRI, which was the first time I'd ever been in one of those machines, which is scary as hell if you've never done it. Now, I don't recommend it. Another thing that I wasn't really, I haven't shared much with, being in there, I felt like I was in a recording session with Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails on some really raw tracks, because that's the kind of like boom, 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 boom sounds that are going on the whole time. So then finally, after all that, guys, I finally talked to somebody, a doctor, who sees that I'm okay, but then I get into these positions and I could have what it said. They say, hey, have they sent you to the physical therapist yet? I go, no. And I've been asking because I think that this is BPV. Finally, I had to wait like another week and a half. Woman knocked it out in 20 minutes. Sent me home with a bunch of exercises. I didn't do one of them. I haven't had an instance. All of this started almost a year ago, late March, early April. I mean, that's how broken the system is, man. And it's one of the reasons that I also preach independence and holding your ground. God forbid you're in tune with your body and your reality. And the funniest thing was that while all this is going on, several of the medical professionals that were talking to me seriously told me, hey, don't research these things. Don't look them up. I looked at him straight in the face. I go, I can't do that. I've already been looking them up. I'm concerned about me. I'm so glad that you're so concerned that you don't want me to look into anything. Just wild town. Wild. But that's the reality we live in. And that's a bigger mantra. And it shows you how they want you to be subservient to, every single one of these dictates. Actually, they say it. When they say they, the UN chief, and others talk about, having a commodity on science. How that's a commodity now. Oh. So I mean, just wild times, in my opinion. And they're going to continue to get wilder, especially with all the bioscience that's coming in. All right. So we'll get to the sustainability stuff. I got a bunch of that. I bitched about the teeth thing. Hey, I'm just going to have to go get shot up again and just get drilled out again. And yay. Talk about the dodo bird, huh? Let's do that. Let's lead with the story, guys. De-Extinction Company will try to bring back the dodo. Colossal Biosciences also intends to resurrect the Thylacine and woolly mammoth, an ambitious agenda considering no extinct species has ever been brought back. Okay, so it's as Jurassic Park as it gets. It's been discussed not only with this company, but other companies and nation states for well over a decade in regards to the woolly mammoth. Or this has been talked about for a long time. I've been reporting on things like this for a very long time. So here are my concerns. There are concerns. Number one, I would imagine behind closed doors and in the halls of academia, corporations, and governments alike, often colluding with one another under the guise of national security, okay, already done it. Now, does that mean they've resurrected the woolly mammoth? No. Does that mean they've resurrected the dodo bird? No. What do I mean already done it? They've already been doing cross-molecular, biological, directed evolution on a multitude of species. It's not really even debatable. And, there's a new word or group of words in town. called directed evolution. See it right behind me? Directed evolution. You're hearing that now because of the Veritas video that got pulled. The Tuckins has been putting it up there. But it's something we've been talking about here, which is cross-species molecular breeding. Products/life forms. Okay, it goes even beyond the genomic design and repair of the human species and what they plan to do with the planet via terraforming and geoengineering. Okay? It's right here. Directed evolution. So, unfortunately, for the better part of 7 to 8 decades now, we in the United States have done horrific underground experiments, some of which have been outed on human beings. Period. What do you think we've done to things that aren't human? What is the definition of human when we're talking about cross-species breeding? We're talking about a thing called chimeras. Now, again, I want to take you back to what we know publicly about some very obvious yet odd choices. And you know what? We're going to do it live. I haven't done this one in years. But here's something I was reporting on probably close to 15 years ago at this point. And it was the cross-species breeding of jellyfish with pigs to create glow-in-the-dark pigs. And really, you've seen jellyfish biology, because of that glow, be utilized in a ton of different bio-nanotech. Luciferase, anybody? Can I say that out loud? He said the word luciferase. Oh my. So here we are. We're at YouTube. And everybody can see the things that I get interested in, from NASA to computers to Mumford & Sons to video games. That's right. And there's a little Rogan in the corner. You know, I'm not sitting here watching alternative media all day, guys, believe it or not. So let's type it in. Glow-in-the-dark pigs. Da-da. Glow-in-the-dark pigs. And there they are. There's kittens, monkeys, sheep. We're 9 years ago, the world's first glow-in-the-dark pigs. You kind of see the neon glow on their schnaddle. Okay, there's the top 7 genetically modified animals. Glow-in-the-dark rabbits. They love the glow-in-the-dark thing. Can't get enough of it. Here, let's just click on this one. This one's going to be good. I can feel it. Bump, bump, bump. There's always the music. Bump, 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 bump. It's always like the science breakdown music. Bump, bump,
A research team at Taiwan's leading National Taiwan University claims it has succeeded in breeding 3 male green pigs by injecting fluorescent green protein into embryonic pigs. There are partially green pigs elsewhere in the world, but the Taiwanese pigs are said to be the only ones that are green from the inside out, including their hearts and internal organs. The pigs are said to glow in the dark.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I don't speak Taiwanese. He says, in the very beginning, we took the green protein extracted from jellyfish, okay, and injected the gene for the protein into embryonic pig cells to breed pigs. Now, this is almost rudimentary and old school at this point. But I want to take you back, because we bringing back the dodo. We bringing back the mammoth. Jurassic Park. And that's what everybody talks about, Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. Oh, I'm glad they're playing this on the side here. That was just like The Last of Us. I don't need this video. I wish I could disable it. I just tried to pause it. I haven't watched The Last of Us. I haven't played The Last of Us. I heard it's awesome. Never been a PS guy. I've got a bunch of PlayStation stuff. I got the remastered edition. Haven't touched it. I collect more than I play, guys. I've been playing some Call of Duty World War II. Love a good World War II fighting Nazi story. Love that stuff. Can't get since a teenager. Medal of Honor days. Something about those games I enjoy. Anyway, getting off on a tangent. Why am I talking about the zombie thing? Because often when people talk about, and the dead shall walk the earth, and that will be our apocalypse, especially religious people. I hear it all the time. That's not how I interpret it if you believe that stuff. And I don't necessarily believe that stuff. If I were a believer in prophecy, and I were talking about the dead shall walk the earth, I would think about cloning technology. And I would think about taking the DNA of famous people or loved ones, creating clones of those people. Now, not necessarily the type of clones that you hear about in certain sects of the alternative media where everybody's a clone and it's popcorn. Clones and popcorn. No. Talking about real deal, right? You just saw jellyfish pigs from a decade ago that are on public display. And all sorts of other breeds of animals. And that's just, again, the jellyfish DNA. You don't think they've done it with others? You don't think other nation states? You don't think Russia, China, Israel? Come on. The Middle East, Saudi Arabia, UAE. Let's grow up. Of course they have. And according to Annie Jacobson, the Roswell incident was one in which, and again, I'm not saying this. This is Annie Jacobson and one of her most trusted sources on the thing that basically told her they were part of all sorts of black operations he couldn't talk about with her. Told her, you saw a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what was really going on, I'm telling you about. But he claimed the Roswell incident was Stalin, after the fact, getting a hold of Mengele, getting a hold of the Horton brothers, creating a saucer-like, it didn't even fly, apparently. So I don't even want to talk about it as a flight device because essentially, according to her, you had another plane, really, right? Another device, much higher up, dumping this on purpose in the United States with genetically modified humans that were made to look like aliens. And then when she asked this gentleman, why in the world wouldn't we have just blown the whistle and said, look what Stalin did to all these people, this is horrific. And he responded, because we were doing the same thing too. We were doing the same thing too. Let me get Biden on you for a second. We were doing the same thing too. Not a shock. And it's not a shock that from her book Area 51, she gets into Operation Paperclip as the follow-up because she realized, oh my God, post-World War II, we divvied up a bunch of these Nazis into our internalized, growing military-industrial complex system with Russia. Russia got some, we got some. It's like a little game, a little competition, a little competicionado. And NASA in particular, visually, rode on the backs of that. And now we know, especially if you watch this program, that NASA itself, is much more than just a space agency. And the vast majority of what NASA talks about and shows you is a facade, is propaganda, is like a Hollywood Kubrick production. I mean, that's what it is. Sorry. And in the background, they're working on technologies that are utilized via this sustainability agenda, via this 2030 UN agenda. Okay, SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. In fact, one of the videos I got queued up here is the infamous Bushnell, chief scientist at NASA, talking about sustainability as a code word for your standard of living plummeting. Down. So when I talk about clones and I talk about genetic modification, I talk about and the dead shall walk the earth again. You know, again, The Last of Us, huge show right now. I assume it's some kind of weird zombie thing, you know, with some bioscience on the side. Outbreaks, right? All these different outbreaks. We've seen it again and again and again. The Will Smith movie, all of it. And so many people are like, zombies, that's it. That's the apocalypse. No. If you really believe in that stuff, it's them literally resurrecting the genomes of human beings that had been on the planet before. Just, that's my opinion. Okay? And when we talk about human cloning and seeing the Ray aliens back in the news via Kanye West, yay. Not trying to insult you, sir. I know I know I shouldn't use your name, but just everything is beyond parody at this point. And if I say yay, maybe people don't know. Okay? So he put out their symbol. And I'm going to be very careful about hidden images here because for those that don't know, the Ray aliens were really this weird sex cult led by a guy named Rael, who said that he had an encounter with some UFOs and some aliens, and then all of a sudden, he's got a weird guru following. And in the early 2000s, right, maybe even late 90s, I believe, let's see, yeah, they claimed that they had cloned a baby Eve. Okay, most of these are under paywalls, the newer ones, because there's still some right here. Raelian leader says cloning first step to immortality. Oh, let's read some of this, huh? This is some vintage CNN right here. Okay, it's the weirdest thing. Now the other thing that I'm reading this, I'm talking about this, and the Raelians, etc., is because they help promote this idea of other species on other planets. So many people buy into this idea of the Prometheus idea, at the very, very least, that we're seeded from aliens, or that the people at the top aren't even human and they're shape-shifting lizard people, right? That was in the Inside Job cartoon. It's so popular. In fact, on Tucker Carlson last night, obviously tongue-in-cheek, I'm not saying that Tucker is alluding to our dark overlords actually being lizards, but he literally talked about, when we were talking about, I think, CBDCs, had Catherine Austin Fitz on last night, talked about our lizard overlords, and then if you didn't think it was just kind of like a passing joke, he put up a graphic of a lizard head in a suit as our overlords. Okay? And this isn't to pick on Ike or any of that stuff. I just don't adhere to it. I think we're, and I'm not saying that there isn't spiritual aspects to this. I'm not saying there isn't more to this. I'm not saying that all this is even human driven, but I am saying that the vast majority are human beings who believe in social Darwinism, and that they can utilize the kind of technologies that we're talking about today, whether it be, again, look at what the key to this is in the headline. Raelian leader says cloning first step to immortality. That they're transhumanists that believe that they can get us to merge with machines and euthanize ourselves, thinking we can upload our consciousness. So it's ridiculous. Again, absurd, but they're going for it. But then use the biomimetics so that they can biologically live forever. So this is 2004 right here, okay? And Baby Eve, that's the story. Let's see how CNN covered it. The leader of a religious sect that claimed to have created the first human clone Friday called the development just the first step towards human immortality through cloning. And I believe, again, the cloning was either late 90s, early 2000s. Former French journalist Claude Virilien, who now calls himself Rael, claims to be a direct descendant of extraterrestrials who created human life on Earth through genetic engineering. And that's the story we hear again and again and again. And we got, Hearst Publications constantly shoving it down our throats with the Ancient Alien series. And think about that. It spawned out of a very, very fringe idea with Von Donigan and Chariots of the Gods, and was just ultra popularized. And now take a step back and think of the implications of believing something like that and it not being true. Okay, because look, I'm all about truth. If I thought this was the truth, I'd be like, they did it! They engineered us! But I'm sorry, that's not what I'm seeing here. Okay, and again, I don't have all the keys to unlock the mysteries of the universe. I tell everybody, 43 years young, barely know what happened the last 40 years. Forget about 100 years, 400 years, 4,000 years, 40,000 years, 40 million years. I'm but a simple man. And I'm about a simple man asking you to thumbs it up and get 100 thumbs up over on the YouTube and especially over on the Rumble. And by the way, guys, if you're following me over on YouTube and you got a Rumble, what are you waiting for? Rumble, we got a little bit more spicy stuff over there too. So they're saying this right now. A company founded by his followers announced Friday that the first human clone has been born, a 7-pound baby girl dubbed Eve. The announcement was met with skepticism and concern since other clone mammals have had serious birth defects or developed health problems later. You're damn right they did. Because again, this was like the initial rollout phase that they were doing it. But in an interview with CNN, Rael dismissed concerns about the health problem in cloned animals, saying, "I have no doubt the child will be perfectly healthy. Everybody in the world is now crazy about what if the child has a problem. What if? I say, what if the child is perfectly healthy and beautiful? I think opponents of the cloning are more afraid of that than of the false." Okay? Bridget Balsielaire, the chief executive of the Alien-founded company Clonaid, said Eve was created using DNA from the mother's skin cells and is a genetic twin of her mother, a 31-year-old American citizen. Now, again, I don't know any of this has been proven or disproven. I wonder if Clonaid is still around. We'll do it live. Let's see. Clonaid. Still there. Pioneers in human cloning. The first human cloning company. Still around, really? That's pretty wild. That's some weird and wild stuff. Horrible website. It says copyright 2006 to 2009. Doesn't look like there's anything real here. But again, you never know. The process steps. Let's not waste our time anymore, right? Because here we go. So it's founded in 1997. See, that sounds more like around the time that this has happened. Now they're saying in 2003 they claimed that they had also cloned a boy. Okay, I no idea, and I don't know who this Kid Boo is either. If there's more that I'm missing via the Raelian cult and the pushing of this guy, like I said, if we go back, if we go back to just searching here, Raelians clone humans. Let me go to images. Yeah, this was the woman everywhere. There's Rael. That was telling us that we have cloned a baby. The sex cult. Yeah, what? It's bothering me. I can't find what year it was. And it should be very easy to find. And there's the symbol, obviously, that caused all the hubbub during the Kanye West stuff. Oh, I love it. Look at that. Look at that. They got the Dolly sheep thing. They got the alien, and they've got the green pigs. I didn't even have to type it in. Maybe that's the magic of my microphone being tapped and everybody else's. Because obviously, Raelians clone humans shouldn't have brought up the glow-in-the-dark pigs, but the good people at Google saw it fit to. Okay. Got about 25 minutes left in the non-paid portion of the broadcast. You can still listen to the premium portion of the broadcast for free over on Podbean. Go get the app. It's on here. It's on your desktop. It's everywhere. Listen in the background for free. Live. The Info Warrior. Find Jason Bermas. It's no problem. Otherwise, you come over to redvoicemedia.com/Jason or /uncensored. It's $10 a month or $100 for the year. Supports the broadcast. locks it in. Going to be plenty of sustainability, plenty of UN stuff on the flip. But I got all these juicy stories up here. And some of them, I'm going to tell you right now, are over the top ridiculous. And, just like if you watched my show, Mixed Martial Mindset with John Fitch, and we covered some of the good things that can be done. This one's going to be like, what? This story, you're covering this? And by the way, I saw people trying to diss Mr. Beast for, making a bunch of people who were blind able to see again, and then giving them a car and an opportunity at an education. Firsthand, real deal. Not some foundation bullshit. So a lot of attacks on that. I don't know that kid from a hole in the ground. Just what I've seen online and interviews I've seen with him. Very intelligent, very smart, and doing the right thing. And he doesn't seem to be some kind of a sociopath that is hell-bent on world domination and sustainability goals. So yeah, I'm not a shock that people went after Beast. Meanwhile, all these virtue signalers and collectivists, globalists, social Darwinists, sociopaths, they do set up the foundations. They act like they're helping you. And they're, they got other plans. They don't have Mr. Beast plans, okay? Anyway, it's a horrible transition and a horrible lead into this story. But the story itself is so over the top and so horrible, I'm going to take you to a place, okay? Imagine being in Alabama and you pull into a parking lot. And in that parking lot, you find a dismembered human penis at a gas station. I mean, you're on E, you're on the road, you're going cross country. You've already been driving 6-7 hours, and you just need to get some gas. And you pull in, okay? And apparently there was a horrific crash at a nearby interstate. Okay? And why am I... Why? Because this just shows you how crazy life can be. How... Who knows what tomorrow brings? The vast majority of us... Look, and I'm not saying you don't have control over your life and your destiny in many aspects. But when it's time, man, it's time. And can you, that's the way you go? Horrific crash, and then you lose your penis? Just, anything could happen. Anything could happen out there. I-65, there it is, right there. Again, just a regular old gas station. Nothing right here that would scream, don't pull in. Looks pretty cleanly. It's got the awning, so if it's raining, very inviting. And, just when I saw that, I immediately was like, you know what? We're going to cover that today. We're going to cover it. Anything can happen. Next story. Transgender woman is charged with indecent exposure after stripping down naked and exposing genitals to minor girls in YMCA locker room on 3 separate occasions. This is out of Ohio. Okay. And these people need to be dealt with, period. If you're doing this to children and in front of children, you need extensive prison sentences. We need to ensure that this is a 31-year-old, whip it out his non-dismembered penis in front of children. In front of children. And, this brings me to a story that was kind of upsetting to me. Not just kind of upsetting, but yeah, upsetting. And one in which, I thought to myself just about the holiday season. Why? First of all, not a huge Sims guy. I never actually played The Sims beyond, I think it was maybe even the first game that you play on the computer where you were really like building cities, and then there was an SNES version. And for some reason, I'd get, you'd build up one of these cities and you'd be kicking ass, and then all of a sudden everything would fall apart. I don't know anybody that had a long, very sustained city that worked out. There's always some kind of disaster going on in The Sims. Gradually, the game turned into a much more personalized, almost Second Life type experience. And just recently, when I was over in Virginia with my girlfriend, and she has a young daughter, 8 years old, they were playing The Sims. And one of the reasons they were playing The Sims is the fact that you could build your own avatar. And that was something that she really wanted to do. And we thought to ourselves, we were talking about it, and we were talking about some of the entertainment and how there's just so much stuff out there that, in my opinion, is completely inappropriate for children, especially under the age of 10, really under the age of 12 or 13. They've tried to make things younger and younger and younger. And now, in The Sims, they ruined The Sims. Okay, because these are all updated. Everything's cloud gaming. We're using the Xbox Game Pass. It's time to go back to the hard disks, guys, and the old versions that don't allow your child to have top surgery scars and chest binders. What? What? Why is this crap being at... Look, first of all, this is an all-ages game. Okay? What are the next things we're going to try to normalize in these all-ages games that are supposed to be simulations of human beings? Because anything that they put in there, they're trying to normalize. And the idea that they took it into the children's arena with the top surgery scars is beyond grotesque and makes me never want to play any of their games ever again. It's a library of like 20 plus games at this point. The Sims has been out, even though this is Sims 4, Sims been out in every flavor, on every console, on every device out there. Okay? So, I see stuff like this, and it really gets me. It really upsets me. And it should. Because at the end of the day, as you know, and this is stuff being pushed by the United Nations, it's part of the sustainability agenda. That's another thing people don't get it. Because the sustainability agenda is really about what? Them having command and control, okay, and directing evolution, directed evolution. We're talking about it more and more because all of a sudden it's in the public vernacular when you're talking about big pharma companies. But they tell you this. In other words, it's not a secret they're going to be promoting this gender ideology. The World Health Organization recently announced that it is updating its manual on gender mainstreaming based on the premise that gender identity exists on a continuum and that sex is not limited to men or women. What is that? That is their agenda. And the agenda, again, is not only take away your biology, your identity, your humanity, but integrate that into the sustainability of leaves and bicycles and recycling and windmills. And peace for health and health for peace. Peace for health and health for peace. And notice that they use the word continuum. Oh, look at this. You mean the book From Transgender to Transhuman is using the same language when they're talking about billions of sexes? And how it is apartheid-esque to stamp down male or female on a baby's birth certificate because of their genitals, which are accidental? So again, I have to play like Imagination Land. Like, this book doesn't exist. Like, that's not the title. Like, the same thing that they're advocating for in this book is exactly what the United Nations is putting out there. A hostile enemy organization, in my opinion. I'll say it again. I want the United Nations out of the United States and the United States out of the United Nations. All together. Gone. See you later. I want you out. All right? So on their own pages, they got this new, gender and health. And the World Health Organization has a role in it now. Got a nice little role. Global peace for global health. Health for peace and peace for health. It's the new initiative. Same thing that Biden's pushing. And now it's in your video games. Now it's in Sims 4. Now, do you believe that the Sims audience out there was just clamoring for this? When are we getting the update? I want children to feel okay with mutilating their body in a virtual environment. And this also integrates into the metaverse and all that. I got that lined up. Metaverse, all United Nations, all World Health Organization, all Davos, all integrated. Okay? Same agenda, varied flavors and faces. Same agenda, varied flavors and faces. Collectivism. Okay? All right, we got some more stories. Again, 15 minutes away. redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. redvoicemedia.com/Jason. The other links are down below to support me. I want to remind everybody, on this YouTube channel, if you're watching here, we've got like 3,000 videos, including all my documentary films that are free. I would imagine over on Rockfin, there's probably close to 1,000 videos over there because we've been posting for 3 years over there. Odyssey has backed up my entire channel, so several thousand videos there. I've been doing this a while. Yesterday, I thought we played, that We Are Change clip, that prepared piece, that edited piece from several years ago. Like to think it holds up today. Like to think it's just as significant today, especially with the news on James Gunn. This same very agenda where they're pushing this. It's not just the idea of transhumanism, but to take you there, you have to act like there's no such thing as influence anymore. What do I mean by that? No such thing as fads anymore. There's no such thing that you could influence somebody to do something at all. Right? Now we're in a place where we have to pretend like advertising doesn't work, like there aren't crazes that are manufactured from big corporations, right? Talk about social engineering. That's exactly what this is. Everything has to be nature and natural, and then with their social Darwinism, that child, they'll act like it doesn't belong to the state, even though it's the state that's taking control away from the parents. But it certainly doesn't belong to the parents. And then the state and its apparatuses within this global collective unit, all right, gives them a protocol. And that protocol is carried through. And before you know it, all of a sudden, kids have more rights than their parents. All of a sudden, this idea of a man, a woman, children, a family, that's even further down the road than before. And I believe I saw the study yesterday. Apparently, guess what? The United States is the #1 spot for single parents. Numero uno. And I'm not coming down on single parents here. Believe me, I know how hard it is to make a relationship work. And I'm not a stay together for the kids guy. But I am the guy that's going to tell you that the strongest unit out there, globally, and I'm not talking about might is right strong. I'm not talking about military strong. I'm not talking about economically greedmonger, top of the heap, step on people, look at my car, consumer strong. I'm talking about the strongest unit on the planet is the nuclear family. Period. It is. You want to know why? Because the ultimate truth is love. And the ultimate love is truth. And that resides within that unit, because in most cases, when those units are together, it is unconditional love for one another despite the actions of each other that will be varied and sometimes won't be the best. You know why? Because we're human beings and we make mistakes. Right? But that unit above everything else challenges, okay, this idea that you get to command over me, you get to crush me, because who really has your best interests at heart other than yourself? I mean, you know, you might have some good friends out there that you made great. I'd say your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. Don't get me wrong, there's different dynamics and there's petty jealousies and all those other things. But for the most part, the family is that unit. And they want to destroy that. They want to act like that doesn't even exist. All right? Because if you believe that, if you think life is inherently good and important and that human beings are something to fight for, you might not take their digital Internet of Bodies technology. You might not want a headset on all the time. You might not want to believe that there is no God at all. All the religions are wrong. All right, you're not special. You're basically a 0 or a 1 and you're fluid. And really, you can take whatever form you want in this metaverse, and eventually, because your consciousness isn't really real, we'll just replicate it in silicon, and then you can literally take whatever form you like. That's the road they're taking you down. Believe it. All right, we got some more stories. And remember, on the other side of this, big time going in on UN Agenda 2030. And I've got a ton of clips lined up. Might not even get through all the clips now that I've been ranting and raving here on Reality Rants. San Francisco pizza shop fires employee over shameful and hateful actions after telling cops they were not welcome on the same weekend thousands protested the death of Tyree Nichols at the hand of 5 officers. First of all, like, what are you doing? I mean, this just shows how ridiculous some people are, and this generation seems to be. Can you imagine? You don't own the business. You're not the manager. You just work there. Okay? You're the cashier. You probably haven't even, graduated up to making a pizza. I've been in pizza shops. I know who you are. You're lucky if they let you over by the salad and substation. And people come in to spend money. And because you saw something on television or in your social media circles that cops are bad, you tell them to hit the bricks. Wow. Well, I'm glad this kid got fired. One. All right. Glad they fired him. 2, I'd like to see more of that. And look, I served people all the time I did not like. I mean, it had nothing to do with police officers or, just individuals. I'm a Martin Luther King Jr. guy. That's kind of all the way around. I don't judge you, based on the color of your skin, your job, and the clothes you wear in most instances. It's the content of your character. And there's plenty of horrible people out there. And at the same time, not my business. So horrible people, we're making money. You serve the horrible people. As long as they're, not disruptive, they're waiting in line, they're doing their thing, as long as they're not like breaking the rules. And first of all, the idea that you would project your displeasure on somebody that just holds a law enforcement position because of what other people in law enforcement, by the way, who at least 2 of them had some pretty egregious incidents before that. Shocker, they'd abused their power and maybe, physically assaulted or abused people before this. I'm shocked. But again, you get under this mentality of groupthink, herd mentality, okay, and this association, And these are the things, kind of things that are done. So I'm glad that guy got fired. Just want to put that out there. Reclaiming Fukushima. Fascinating before and after images show how Japan is slowly restoring and rebuilding the radiation exclusion zone since the 2011 nuclear disaster. Now, when I saw just like a year, 2 years ago, I was seeing basically this. And you were seeing a bunch of wildlife and animals that had overtaken the area. Now, first of all, let's just take a look at this. First of all, there's a lot of greenery. You know, even before they've started to rebuild everything, right? And develop back on it. So, you know, this idea that, you know, I think in a lot of cases that we have been misled about certain aspects of radiation, nuclear power in particular, and even nuclear weapons for several reasons. Nuclear power. Why? Because it has to be demonized. You know, it actually is a pretty clean source of energy that could be utilized to empower humanity. You know, just, you know, right there. Like it could be used to empower humanity. And I'm just looking at this, and 10 years on, it looks that way. You know what I'm saying? Like literally it looks that way. Let's see. All right. So we are on the tail end of this. We got a couple more broadcast stories I want to put in there. What has turned this sleepy Suffolk town into the satanic capital of Britain? Latest census reveals that Bungay, population 8,500, has more devil worshippers than anywhere else in the United Kingdom. Bizarre story. Felt like I, had to at least read it. Behind the bar of the Green Dragon sits a pentagram, for dark forces are at work. It seems in an ancient town of Bungay, a serene spot, sleepy Suffolk, encircled by the River Waveney, with views over lush meadows and peppered with historic buildings, the market town has just been named the Satanist capital of the UK. Recently released official figures from the 2021 census shows that around 1 in 120 of the local population answered Satanism when asked about their religion, 100 times the national average. I mean, is this a goof? Did a bunch of people just get together at the bar? You would hope so. You would hope that this is a goof. Who knows? Local politicians and residents insist they have never seen any sign of nefarious activities and suggest it could be a prank. If so, a lot of people are in on it. Let's hope so, right? Unless we get some dark stories coming out of Bungay with the castle thing. Green Dragon barman Jack Feasy doesn't seem to be overly worried. Around the size of a 50p piece, a pentagram, a symbol associated with paganism, witchcraft, and devil worship, might have been a dark charm worn secretly by the punter who left it behind. Its current home draped around the neck of a small plastic action character on a shelf behind the bar has made it a rather less menacing. So, I mean, you hope this story is a goof. When I read it, I was like, yeah, this is, I guess, a fun one. And I don't mean to take away from the gravity of people that have suffered actual satanic ritual abuse. I do believe that is a real thing. We have covered the Finders, the Franklin scandal, the Utah case, right? But at the same time, I read something like this, and I'm just blown away of the absurdity. Had a couple more. And this is kind of a serious story. This guy was gone. Basically, they're saying that they found all sorts of devices with CP on this journalist, this investigative reporter who resigned in April, and he was gone, and now they have all this stuff. I'm kind of I'll tell you what. I'm going to give my take on the other side. That's what I'm going to do because we're at the end of the hour. redvoicemedia.com/Jason. We're going to be getting into Agenda 2030. We got plenty of videos. Remember, you can listen for free over at Podbean. Just look up the Info Warrior or Jason Bermas for free. Remember, we also release every single day that I'm on here the second hour for free video-wise from 2 weeks ago. So if there was an interview or a segment that you felt like you got cut short on, please go check it out. I mean, I think we're doing it big. So with that being said, let's start going down the line and leaving the broadcast. Rockfin, Arrivederci. You know what? Before I go, let me make sure no one tipped over on Rockfin because yesterday they did, and I didn't read it. But we'll do that. So Rockfin, we will see you on the flip. Thank you for joining me. YouTube,